John, a good solid start last Friday night and a second successive clean sheet. Must be happy with that.
Yeah, it was nice to win. I knew all week that Bows were going to be a really difficult side, and I think Keith Long more or less said afterwards, they tried to strangle the game, tried to keep the crowd quiet. They got in our faces, and they were really trying to make it a horrible night. And up to the first half, they'd done that, and we found it extremely difficult. But as I said, second half we came out differently, and obviously once McGuire got the goal, it changed the game, and we played really well after that. So it was good to win our first home game, and the crowd was fantastic, and the noise levels was brilliant. Even with the game on TV, they have over 4,000 people on a bitterly cold night, and the noise levels right through the game were brilliant. And to have the clean sheet was good. So look at its first game over. Obviously a difficult one at the weekend.
And the long haul, the one Friday night.
The long haul is an issue. We're well used to travelling, and actually it's enjoyable in some ways because you had away the day before, and particularly with a new team, and you're trying to gel things together, and while things take a bit of time, we have gelled reasonably quickly. It's still a lot of work to do at the same time, but when you go on trips like this, it certainly helps because fellas are in each other's ears, and so they have to get on with each other. So sometimes trips like this can actually help. So the long trips never really bother me.
What's the latest on Gary Buckley and Kevin O'Connor?
Gary is still a bit of swelling, hasn't trained this week. We'd certainly, we'd hope it's going a bit slower than we thought, but certainly we'd hope by the middle of next week that he'll be back with us. Kevin is back with us, so he should be okay.
Do you anticipate any changes in the starting lineup?
We've looked at one or two different things. We haven't decided on anything. I suppose the good thing at the moment is that most guys are chomping at the bit to get going, and there's a lot of competition for places, which is good. So we haven't decided yet. Obviously, we've got a report on Derry. Kenny Shields has taken over, and they seem to try to play. Obviously, it was difficult on Friday night against Finn Harps with the conditions, but at the same time they were trying to play, and obviously he's trying to promote good football around Derry. So obviously the fact they lost last week, we'd be expecting them to go out and have a right call off us. So we're looking at a few things, but at the moment we haven't decided.
I know you like to take one game at a time, but it's a tough weekend, isn't it, with Longford coming up on Monday when you get back?
Well, the big problem at the weekend is that we won't get back to Derry till somewhere between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, and you miss a night's sleep, and that is difficult because you have to report to training again on Sunday morning. So that is the big problem. So from that point of view, but look at Derry, it's their first home game, and obviously they're appealing to have a big crowd, and Derry is Derry. They're like ourselves, and always a great place to play in, and good venue and passionate people, and so we're looking forward to that.
John, before a ball was kicked this season, you were being touted as title favourites in certain quarters. You've since had good wins over Dundalk and Bohemians. Do you feel the sense of expectation has risen around the city surrounding this team?
Well, I suppose expectation is always massive. I feel anyway, Rory, it's a situation where maybe the first year it wasn't, because we came in, John Cotter, myself and Phil Harrington, and the team started very well, and people didn't obviously expect us maybe to be as close as we were, but obviously then last year the expectations were huge, this year they're huge. It's part and parcel of being in Cork, and that's the way it is. So I'm used to it. I'm not, I suppose, a lot of to be honest, a lot of the comments are made by lots of occasions people who really, some people that aren't close to the action and throw away comments, but I think the pleasing thing was, last Friday night with 4,000 people on a bitterly cold night, game on TV, and they were really behind the team, and the atmosphere was fantastic and electric, and I'm just hoping that throughout the season we can keep those crowds coming and keep that atmosphere, because it definitely drives the players on, and but expectations are in Cork, no matter what sport it is, there's always expectations, so I'm used to that. Like, as I keep saying, Pat Fennan has been at Shamrock Rovers a number of years. They're lying under the ground a bit. Not a lot's been said about them, and I expect them to be pushing really, really close this year. But Dundalk are the team to beat, because they've won the league for the last 2 years and they've kept the bulk of their team. And you see last week, the first game of the season, they won comprehensively. So from that point of view, we're all the challengers, but the most important thing is we have a new team as such in terms of with all the new players coming in, but at the same time they've gelled quickly. But there's a lot of work still to do, and there's a lot of things that we're not happy with. But at the same time, overall, you'd have to be pleased with the way the first 2 weeks have gone.
Following that win over Bohs, what areas do you feel you have to improve in?
Well, I think there was misunderstandings, and I think there was, certainly, I think there was combination plays and stuff that didn't work as well as we would have hoped, and we went through some stuff. But at the same time, we work on that every day, and and I suppose the more guys play with each other, the more patterns work out, the more formations work out, and I suppose from that point of view, the understandings, and because there's a lot of pace around the team, and we're well able to play 1 and 2 touch football, and so the more you play with each other, I think you'll see that there'll be more combinations and stuff like that. So just from that, and it's not being critical, because the lads have been absolutely phenomenal, and to be fair to them, and all of a sudden to get such a group in together with the lads from last year and the new lads, it's been really positive, and they've a really fantastic attitude, but obviously there's still a good bit of work to do.
Not to see your main striker get among the goals so early is vital for him and his confidence going forward.
It is, because like every striker, if you score, it gives you that confidence, and I suppose to be fair to Shawnee, he probably has been around for the last 18 months, and it just hasn't happened for him, and he was down on confidence, and he just felt coming here that he wanted to see could he get an opportunity to get a start and get a run of a few games to show what he could do. And look, at early indications are good, but the beauty for us, I suppose, as I said, that Mark was really a lone striker for 2 years with the injuries we had and whatever, and all of a sudden we have Mark, we have Carl Shepherd, and we have Danny, and but at the moment, to be fair to Shawnee, like the first 2 weeks to score a couple of goals is great for him, and great guy at training, lovely fella, and he must keep his feet on the ground, he must keep working. He's only 21 years of age, so if he can hold his head and keep working the way he is, he could score quite a few goals.
John, Derry haven't lost at the weekend now, and playing in the Brandy will over just them. They still have, obviously they have a new manager, but they've retained a lot of last year's squad as well. So.
Well, I suppose if you look across their defence, where they've been quite strong, Doherty very experienced in goal. Obviously they've a new right back brought in, who by all accounts is quite good. But they have McBride, Barry, and Jarvis. The three. So the four, the regular back five they've had for the last couple of years. So in the middle of the park, obviously they still have McNamee, who's a super player. They brought in McCormick from Pats last year, who did really well. And also McAniff, the lad they brought back from Tottenham. So they have guys that that have been there all last year. McGlynn came back from the States, who had been with them a number of years ago, and a really good player and a skillful player, and Patterson up top. So they've all, you'd have to say they've probably a much more settled side than we have, from the point of view that they've been together longer. But at the same time, I think, they ended up in the local derby last week, 4,500 people. Obviously the pitch wasn't in good condition. Finn Harps hadn't beaten them in something like 18 years, so they wanted to lay down a marker. So I believe it was more like a cup tie than a league game, the way they were just frantic and that. But at the same time, we'd expect totally different at home this weekend. Derry being Derry, fantastic club, fantastic people, and they always like to entertain. So we'd expect that they'll be back to their passing game this weekend. They have a lot of energy in their team, and it'll be like every league match there. We just have to play well to see can we get a result.
Their season, I think I've mentioned this before, the season is going to be disrupted in the summer with the conversion to this 4G all-weather surface. Are you sorry to see pitches going that way? That the game should be played on grass, I presume, should it? Like, you're not an advocate of this 4G surface?
Well, I don't think anyone wants to see plastic pitches. I think everyone knows it is not the same thing as playing on grass. The only thing about it is that, in the mid-70s, maybe early 80s, in England, they brought in 5 or 6 plastic pitches, and within 6 or 7 years they were banned, and all of a sudden it's all about 3G, 4G. A lot of concerns at the moment about the rubber going into these pitches, that there's after effects, and who knows, maybe in 5 or 6 years UEFA might ban the whole lot of them, and we'll all be happy then. But certainly, everyone wants to play in grass, and I think to be fair, we're a summer league, and outside of that, I think the way pitches are generally maintained nowadays with full-time groundsmen and stuff, Like there's no doubt it's a totally different game. And you know, there's no all weather. I've been in Europe, I've been in places, and there's been fantastic all weather pitches there, but they're not grass.
Yeah.
And there's no one that can argue that it's the same as being on grass. It's not, you know, and that's just the reality. And we all prefer to play in grass, and you know, so the work hasn't started in Derry yet, so maybe it mightn't start.